Hello, my name is Talisa, and I recently retired. Has it been a week yet? I no, well, yeah, it's been a week. Um, a little over a week ago, I retired at age 62, and the title of this is not clickbait. ChatGPT told me to retire, and I did. So I have to laugh at it myself. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit first. All right. Um, I work in IT. I've been in information technology for 40 years. It started as a hobby for me with a little Tandy cassette player where you could write basic to cassette. Yeah, that long ago. Um, and so I just kind of fell into it because that is not what I went to college for. I majored in theater arts and speech. And then later on, I got a degree in communication. Well, first I got a degree in management, and then I went back and I got a degree in communications and Christian ministries. Um, and just recently, I have gotten some certification in health and wellness, and I also started a travel agency. So that's basically me. Um, for the last 18 years, I've been working for a state university, and I'll give you a hint. Yes, I'm a SEC babe. I'm sure some guy out there is probably thinking you are not what I think of when I think SEC babe, but that's okay. Trust me. At one point in my life, I really was an SEC babe, but I'll always be SEC. But anyway, I retired. And I was blessed enough to have a pension after 18 years. It's not a large pension, but having said that, um, I recognize it's more than what some people earn. And that was one of my decision points. I said, there's people out there living off of this amount as their salary. I think I can make it happen. There were some other things, some other factors that went into it. But anyway, the reason why I wanted to do this video and even start this channel is because I found out that retirement is not for the faint of heart. And maybe that'll be a separate topic video. But as I was going through the process of trying to decide whether or not to retire, and I'm here to tell you, it was a spur of the moment decision because I had originally planned, I had even told my boss this last year, I had originally planned to retire in February of 2027, which would have given me 20 years and 1 month. And the reason why that was important is because even though I would not be 65, it would bring my insurance down, my health insurance down to Medicare levels. Like my health insurance would have been like about $205 a month, maybe less than that. It may have been less than that now that I think about it, until Medicare kicked in. And then, of course, it would probably go up a little bit because you know how Medicare is. But yeah, so that was my goal. I was going to work until then. Um, Things happen. A lot of things happen. And I have a Substack, and that's one of the reasons why I'm doing these videos. I'm going to try to do a video every week. We'll see. Because I have a Substack account that I started. If you're not familiar with Substack, it's where people go and kind of vlog their lives or things that they can do or teach things that they know that other people may want to know. It's for people that like to write and people that like to read. And I like to write and I like to read. So I did a Substack, and then I said, there's a lot of people, especially now, that just don't have the time to read. And as I share this information, I would like it to reach as many people as possible because it's information that I hope is going to help somebody. So I said, you know what? I need to do a YouTube, even if it's just to tell them a little bit and say, okay, now go over to the Substack and read the rest. And my Substack is free. I'm not charging any subscriptions or anything like that. Now, maybe one day in the future, I will. I don't know yet. And the only reason why I'm thinking about it is because everybody keeps telling me, girl, you need to do a subscription information thing, but that I didn't get into that for the money. I just really wanted to help somebody because I was looking for information myself and could not find it. And so I said, well, I'll document what I went through and talk about what happened with me. And maybe that'll help somebody who's in a similar situation and it'll help them as well. I really hope to build a community of people who want to retire. They have talked to their financial advisors or whoever and feel like I might can make it, but fear is holding them back, because that was my situation. Fear was really holding me back, because we've been bred to believe we got to have like $1 million and all this stuff. And I don't have that. I don't. And, like I said, my pension is not a big, huge, like, oh, she's getting $80,000 a year. No, it's not. But I think it's livable. And that's one of the things that I'll talk about. But I really don't want to focus so much on the money, because that's what I found. I found a lot of different YouTubes and information about money. Well, you can go to a good financial advisor, what do they call them? I can't think of the name right now. But, you can go to one who you pay them. They're not paid by what you buy. This thing is going to give us problems because it's not my normal tripod that I wanted to use. But anyway, you can go to that type of person and they can help you figure out the finances and whether or not you have enough money to retire. But what I could not find was people just to talk to about, or people just talking about the feelings, the emotions behind retirement. I found a few, and when I did find them, it was like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I found this person, to hear. Their situation wasn't my situation, but it was just good to hear them talk about what they were going through, the emotional side of it, because you just don't see a lot of that out there on YouTube. Most of it is about financials. And I can understand that because, of course, money is important, right? But once you figure the money side out, you still got a long way to go, because I'm here to tell you, just about every day coming up to my retirement, I would have a conversation with ChatGPT because my friends got tired of talking about it. And I would say, Chad, I call him Chad. I said, Chad, I don't know if I'm making the right decision. I just, and I would just spill my little guts out. And like I said, I'm a writer, so I use the typing version. I like that better than the spoken version. And he would come back with some good points on why I was going to be okay. And so, yeah, ChatGPT told me to retire. So back on that, because I don't want people to think I'm just stringing them along to get clicks or whatever, because I'm not. So my mother lived to be 97 years old, bless her heart. And she lived with me the last 5 years of her life. Before then, my sister, who lives in Detroit, my sister's about 14 years older than me. She would come down from Detroit and stay with my mom for about 9 months out of the year. And then my mom would stay with me during the summers. And her and my sister developed Parkinson's during that time frame. And one week, her and my mother both fell, and nobody knew, and they couldn't get to the phone. And I think it was on a Saturday, and they weren't discovered until that Monday morning. And they both could have died. And so after that, my sister had to end up going back to Detroit so her kids could take care of her. And my mother had to move in with me full time. And of course, I was still working. I wasn't in a situation at that point where I could retire, and I had to continue to work. My mother was my pride and joy. She was my precious jewel. That's what I would tell everybody. We did in-home hospice with her. She was on in-home hospice for about 4 years. And that's another reason why I wanted to do this, because I know there's a lot of people out there in that sandwich generation like me, and you're a full-time caregiver and you're trying to work, except you may have kids too. I didn't have any children. I never married, so I didn't have any children, but and I was in a stressful kind of job, that goes in waves where it'd be stressful and what have you, because I was in IT, and it was a lot. And I had to pay for sitters. She had a small pension, and I think people thought it was going a lot further than it did. So I had to pick up the slack, and I had to pay for sitters and what have you. That kind of turned out to be a blessing in disguise, though. I'm going to tell you why. Even though that was money that could have went towards my 403B and my retirement or whatever, I realized I'm taking big financial hits all over the place, right? As you get to know me, you'll find out some of the other ones. But having to have her in my home and having to pay for some of her care put me, in a sense, at the salary I'm going to be at now that she has passed, because she has passed away. So I had a good 5-year run of living off a certain amount of money. And she died last year in November. So from November through July of this year, I had the money, the extra money, but I still didn't have the money because there were things that came up that I had to take care of, like with her house. Her house was paid for, but it hasn't been sold. It needs to be sold, but out of respect for her, I wanted to maintain it. So I have been maintaining my own mortgage and house and her taxes, insurance, all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Utilities and all of that, double utilities, all of that, on top of her living, assistance here in the house, in my house. So all of that made my finances take a big hit. And I know I'm not the only one. I know there's a lot of people who are probably using their savings to take care of a loved one, and they're wondering, how are they going to retire when their time comes? And I'm going to tell you, I was just blessed because I worked for a large IT company where I made more money, and I took a big cut in pay when I moved here to help my parents, because when I originally moved here, it was for my father. He was terminally ill with cancer, and he was the one who asked me to come home. And I just had the best parents in the world. If you knew, you would understand. So I did, and it was a hit and pay, but I was just grateful to get a job, because it's hard to get a good job in this area. I'm in the southern part of Louisiana, and I was just grateful to get the job. I really was. And it was something I had done like 10 or 15 years previously, so I could do it while I still, looked after my dad and getting him to his chemo treatments and all of that kind of stuff. Well, after he died, my mother's dementia got worse, and so on and so forth, as we've already discussed. But the blessing is that job that I got had a pension. And when I first came, I was 42. No, I was 40. I was 40 because I'm 62 now. I hope I'm doing that right. But anyway, so it gave me almost 20 years in that system. So I could get a defined benefit pension. And then, if you guys are familiar with the whole WEP GPO, that passed last year. So the money I had earned on my previous job for Social Security that I could not get all of, I hate to say all of, but the amount that you're supposed to get at the various ages, I was not going to be able to get them because I was working for a state, even though I had already put 20 years or close to 20 years into the Social Security system. Well, after they passed WEP, that eliminated that issue. So the money that I put into that system, I'm now able to get out like everybody else. So I'm able to get Social Security. So combining the Social Security at 62 along with my small defined benefit pension put me at what I consider to be a livable salary. It's not extravagant. I have money left over each month, which is a blessing, but it's not tons of money. But I plan to be wise about it and try to invest some of it, because you never know. Like I said, my mother lived to 97. So who knows how long I will live. I don't know if I will. My siblings don't seem to have that kind of track record. I have one that died, I believe, at 49, and the other one died at 64. So, I don't know if I will live as long as my parents, but we'll see. And so I'm trying to do different things, and we'll talk about them as time comes. I just wanted to introduce myself, and I wanted to say I really did use ChatGPT to figure out what to do. It's real easy to use. I mean, it's just like I'm talking to you now, except I was writing it out, but you can talk to it as well, because I have another friend that lives in Indiana, and she talks to hers. But it's a lot of challenges that goes along with retiring. And like I said, it's not for the faint of heart. You can find yourself in panic attacks, asking yourself, what am I doing? Am I going to have enough money, with the way the cost of living increases? And with the state of Louisiana, they don't give cost of living increases to retirees every year. And when they do give them, they're usually small, like 2%, So those kind of things was in my head. But I sat down. I mean, I had talked to a financial advisor too, don't get me wrong. But I actually put more stock into what Chat said than what the financial advisor said. Don't get mad at me, financial people. Do not get mad at me. It's just that I was able to load all of my stuff in, and he really could see like it's a person, but it could really see all the dynamics and dimensions of things that I was going through. And at the end of the day, it came down to a time situation. How much time do I have to do the things that I really want to do? And nobody knows that. Nobody. But I looked at my sister. Like I said, I have a sibling that died at 49. The sibling who was closest in age to me died at 64. My sister has Parkinson's, which started around my age when it started in her. I have a brother in Florida, and he has debilitating back issues. I've had health issues. I have an autoimmune disease. I also have like ADHD and things like that. But my physical ailments, and like I've gone through uveitis. I was blind in one eye. I've gone through some things, and I've been going through the third postmenopausal cycle that nobody talks about. Everybody talks about perimenopause and menopause, but nobody talks about postmenopause. And I'm here to tell you, it's not pretty. Okay. And so I was going through a lot. I made this decision. I think it was in May. My boss was over in Italy somewhere, and I told him, I said, by the time you get back, I know what I'm going to do, but I think I'm going to retire. And he said, all right, just let me know. And so, but my sister had came down with a mysterious illness. We still don't know what it was to this day. She ended up on life support. She was vented, incubated, everything. She was on a feeding tube, the whole 9 yards. She was not going to make it, so they thought, but she made it by the grace of God. My brother was in and out of the hospital as well. And like I said, I just lost my mother November the 5th of last year. And I was just like, God, please, I just lost my mom. Don't take my siblings too, then I'll just be here by myself. And so I was facing all of that. Plus, I was facing some economic leftover from my mother that was really bringing me down, because there was times I had to go get some high interest loans to get some things done. And I'm telling you, I told one of my friends tonight, loans, stay away from them. I don't care, low interest, high interest, whatever. They are the shackles that are put on you to keep you from being the person that you really can be, because they will, every decision you make, you have to make it around, will I be able to pay this loan? Will I be able to pay this? And I'm talking about any car notes, mortgages, anything. And yes, I do have a mortgage, but anything that you have to borrow to get, you need to think about it, because it's shackles. And so I wanted to get rid of that as well. And so what I did was I did take some money lump sum to set up a safety net and to be able to invest the way that I want to invest, because as people know, there's drawbacks on defined benefit plans too. So I didn't take, I took enough. I figured out how much I needed to take to pay the things I needed to pay and to do some repairs that I need to do on this house, because when Mama was here, I couldn't do anything. I could not do anything. So I have a lot of deferred maintenance that I need to do to get this house back up to par. I don't even know if I'm going to stay here, but if I am going to stay, I need to get these things done so I can sell it. The house will be paid off in another 5 years. So, I don't know. I may stay, I may not. We'll see. But anyway, so I did do that. And so that lowered my monthly income for life. And so I saw, and Chat and I talked about the drawbacks of that and how crazy it was. But I'm hoping that I will be able to make some of that back when either I sell this house or my mother's house gets sold and I get my little part off of that and invest it correctly, because I'm learning about investment. So these are the kind of things I'm going to talk about. This is going a lot longer than I wanted it to, so I may not even use it, or I may go back and edit it. But yeah, ChatGPT, it can be wrong. You have to check what it tells you, because there were errors. Like, I would put all my numbers in there, and I had been checking my numbers for years, and some things I caught that it was wrong. But it was like, okay, I'm glad you caught this. You're right. And it would go off and it would correct it and what have you. So I really got my budget down to the penny. And so we will see how this plays out. And I hope you guys come along with me and see, did Chat give me bad advice telling me to retire at 62? But you got to realize, like I said, it wasn't a financial decision as much as it was a time decision. I'm also a travel agent, and I also do health and wellness coaching. So I want to combine those two things to see, can I help some other people who are in this situation, stressed out, need a getaway, maybe plan some little, group wellness getaways. But I've already started creating things that people can use for free, because especially if you're a caregiver, I know getting a respite break is almost impossible. So I've been creating some little things, and I put one out there on my Substack that if you subscribe to my Substack, you can download and get. It's a 7-day wellness reset that you can do at home, or you could do on a vacation, whichever way. And then Labor Day, I just kind of talked about all the unseen people who are laboring to take care of their loved ones, and how, if you know somebody like that, kind of reach out to them, because it may be harder than you think. And you probably say, yeah, I think it's pretty hard. No, there may be things going on that you really don't know, because people are proud and they don't talk about it, because I know I was. So try to reach out whenever you can to somebody like that. So that was my second Substack that I talked about. And I'm leaving to go on a cruise, and it's going to be 19 days. It's 2 cruises back to back. It's a adults only cruise on Carnival. It was hosted by the casino people, and we're going to talk about that and how you want to stay out of trouble with those folks. But you can't get some of these offers and go relax your mind a little bit. What else? That's basically it. But it's not a clickbait. I did use Chat, If you're really interested in the conversations that I had with them, I mean, I saved them. I can pull them up. It's just that they have my numbers in them, so I'm not too, big on putting it out there in social media, but I can give you an idea of the kind of things that I asked, the kind of numbers that I put in. And I talked about some personal stuff. Now, here's the thing. If you get the paid, and it might be on the free version too, I don't know. The paid version of Chat is $20 a month, and it is well worth it. I'm going to tell you, because it helps me with so many other things that I need to get done. But on the paid version of ChatGPT, you can tell it not to share your personal information to help other AI agents become better at what they do. Now, if they're honoring that or not, I don't know. Just like they had that whole Alexa scandal when they found out that Alexa was listening in on people. At least that's what they said. I mean, you just don't know about these things. So you have to kind of just, you have to realize you're taking a risk that, your information could be shared with somebody over in, I don't know, some other country or whatever, like they said about the TikTok stuff. I don't know. But this is what I do know. I don't have any great things that's so, critical. I'm not a millionaire. I'm nowhere near it. I don't have anything that anybody would really want. So I didn't have any trade secrets that I needed to keep hidden from AI knowing. So I was able to really just be honest and say, this is what's going on. This is what has happened. What do you think? And so when my mother died in December, that was the first time, because when I went on a cruise in December after my mother died to try to kind of decompress, and it helped, but I really couldn't grieve because I had so much going on at work and stuff. But anyway, during that time while I was on the ship, that's when the WEP law passed, and I knew I was going to be able to get my Social Security. So I asked Chat then, hey, the WEP just passed. What do you think? And I put some numbers in that I just had in my head because I didn't have my stuff with me. And it went through and it said, you could retire right now today if you wanted to. And I was like, wait, what? But I had no plans of doing it. I had no plans of doing it. But I guess it planted that seed in the back of my head. And then this spring, when the world fell apart, when my sister ended up on life support, my brother was in and out of the hospital, couldn't get my mom's house sold for various reasons. So I've got that expense, bearing down on me, my own house issues. And we had a major upgrade at work in January. And not only that, before I left in December, there was a thing, and this was like right after my mom died. I had to jump on, get this thing done before I left in December. Then I come back in January and I find out they didn't even use it because they decided they was going to wait for this upgrade, which I had told them to do before I left. So those kind of things just started building up. And I was like, I can't do this. And so we were looking at another upgrade. And I was like, I can't go through another one. Mentally, I just can't do it. And I have never been like that in my life. Never. I have always been an overachiever, type A personality, top of the list kind of person, good grades in school, the whole thing. But something in me broke. When my sister went down for Easter, because she was already in the hospital for another reason, and she caught something and, all of this happened. It was like the straw that just broke the camel's back. Something in me just went snap. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. So something's got to go. And the one thing that I knew I could let go was the job. And then it just started making sense. The more I thought about it, the more I talked to Chad about it, it just started making sense. Now, having said that, and I should have said that in the beginning of this, first and foremost, I talked to God. And I should have started off with that. And so I apologize that I did not start off with that. I really, first and foremost, when I started seriously thinking about retiring this spring, I talked to God. And I felt like he answered, because each day something else would happen to let me know, this is your time. You need to go now. Every time I had a doubt, God would show me something and be like, nope, you need to go now. This is your time. So I'm glad I did it, but it was a struggle. And I know people are struggling out there. So maybe on my next video, we can get more down into that. But I just wanted to introduce myself, and I'm sorry it took 30 minutes to do that. I'm not an editor. I'm a guerrilla video person. I just, whatever I shoot, that's what you get. And so I don't know if I'm going to go back and try to edit this or not, because that is not who I am. And I'm going to be getting a lot of video, because I have another channel, All Blazing World, for my travel. And I never had a chance to really work with it because of my job. So I'm going to be videotaping a lot for that channel while I'm on this cruise. And I said to myself, girl, you need to learn you some editing skills. But I feel like if you really want the information, you'll listen. You'll fast forward through and get to the parts you want to hear, because that's what I do when I find people have long videos and they kind of ramble like I'm rambling now. I just skip through to what I want to hear. I guess that tells you right there, I'm not trying to make no money, am I? Because I'm telling you to go skip through. But hey, anyway, I hope to hear from some of you guys. Drop something in the comments to let me know what you think. Do you think I'm crazy because I listen to chat? I know you do. I know you're going to say I'm crazy, I'm this, I'm that. Just go ahead, child. Say what you got to say. Get it off your chest. It's okay. I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be, regardless of what you say, I'm going to be all right. Because it wasn't solely ChatGPT. Like I said, I did talk to a financial advisor. He wanted me to wait the 2 years, but he did say, if you don't, I don't think you'll end up on a soup line if you do these things. And so I plan to do those things, which it won't be an easy life, but it's a doable life. And of course, like I said, I talk to God first. And when God's got you, you can't lose. You can't. So anybody who's going through the struggle right now and just having some emotional pain over it, lean into God or lean into your spiritual beliefs, because it will help you a lot. And I look forward to talking to you soon. Check my Substack. The link is in the description. Or you can just go to retiredandrising.com, because my website, retiredandrising.com, points directly to my Substack page. And then you can read about the things that I'm writing, because I think my writing is much better than my talking. I really do, because I can kind of think it through. So, and they're short. They're not 30 minutes long. And it's probably like maybe a 5 or 7 minute read. So go to my Substack, subscribe. It's free. You'll get 1 email a week. And when I drop free things, you'll know about it, because I'm doing it via Substack. So that's the main reason, because I do plan to create some things and put out there. All righty. Thanks, everybody. Bye.